hey, this is Acquisitive, episode 0, where you get to find out a little bit about who we are and why we're recording this awkwardly.
It's awkwardly like the notes to self, like say it more awkwardly.
Oh yeah, I actually read the inflection notes.
Yeah, the inflection.
Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. Be real big, I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids, just kids, that's wealth years.
So Sarah, who are you?
Oh, well, that's a deep question. My name is Sara Sharp. I live in Denver, and I'm a deal attorney that specializes in small business M&A. I run my own law firm. It's me and a partner, an associate, a paralegal, and a handful of other folks. And we primarily work in the financial services firm industry, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So I'm in a lot of the SMB spaces. And I also have 2 little girls who are very, very fun, who are 4 and 2. And I'm from East Tennessee, so I'll get in front of the people saying, are you from Texas? Who are you, Daniel?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So my name is Daniel Talbott. I live in Vero Beach, Florida. That's a little personal. Somebody might stalk me now if we get famous.
Well,
I'm Daniel Talbott. I live in Florida.
There you go.
Undisclosed.
Now they'll never find you.
Right. Never. You can't use the internet. Don't Google me.
I'm pretty sure LinkedIn says Vero Beach. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. All right. Well, I'm Daniel Talbott. I'm in Vero Beach. I am a business broker, and I also own an online accounting firm called Profit and Grow. And my story starts way back. Right out of high school, I was a bail bondsman. So it's a family business. And that was actually where I had my first business sale and my first acquisition. So I left the family business, as most do, because working for family is horrible. And I went out and started my own. And about a year in, I found out my family agency was for sale. So I put my brand new baby bail bonds business up for sale and actually sold it to someone who I'm pretty sure was a drug dealer. Like, we didn't have
Did you sell it to him for drugs? Is that how you know?
No. But there was a tell. So we did actually meet at an attorney's office. So like we did that right. There was not really a contract beforehand. Like they kind of wrote it at the table.
Oh, I have never done that.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it's supposed to be done. But it felt right at the time. What didn't feel right was when he pulled out the tube socks of rolled $100 bills to pay me.
Oh no.
Yeah, the tube socks kind of bothered me for a minute, but it was actually like how damp the rolls of $100 bills were. Like that was kind of the part that was like, this is sketchy. So like, let's just get this stuff signed and get on out of here.
Did he not understand that laundering money is metaphorical? Had he actually laundered the bills?
They actually did smell pretty good.
Okay, all right. Well,
so it was well laundered money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had like the bank blue ink just washed off of them.
Yeah, it's like freshly stolen. Yeah, absolutely. But no, it spent well. The bank took it. I was able to deposit it, and then ended up using it as a down payment to buy my family's agency, which we also did with no contract. So that was wise.
Ooh.
Yeah, seller finance deal. They were holding a note. I was paying, it's like $1,000 a month. It was like a family thing. And then they saw how well I was doing, so they jacked up the price. Yeah.
Oh, family, right?
Yeah, family. Yeah, we had to change the terms because I was doing too well.
Right.
No, so it was a bumpy road. Ended up growing though. We got through it and we scaled and hired more people, started looking at opening more offices, but I still didn't know what a P&L was. I was like running the business off the bank statements.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Jeez.
So like I knew everything there was to know about business.
Obviously. Yeah.
Like who needs a P&L, right? Like
no.
What even is that? But
this isn't Wall Street.
For real, right? Bank statements were perfectly fine until they weren't. And no, I got a huge bill from the IRS. It wiped out my operating budget, wiped out most of my savings. Ended up having to scale back, basically back to just me working by myself in the original office, just trying to keep things together. And with my newfound free time, I decided to figure out where it all went wrong. So I went back to school for accounting, and that's where I learned about taxes and P&Ls and
And so,
budgets.
ugh, and you were just the only person who was looking like they had the biggest aha moment in those drag classes at 23, going,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this would have saved everything. So when we met, you were not a bail bondsman. What happened?
Yeah. So I actually fell in love with tax accounting, not the way you think. Tax accounting is extraordinarily boring, but the aha moments that I had myself, like the ability to create those in other entrepreneurs, it became a major passion of mine. So I got into the tax accounting business. I went in as a paralegal for a tax attorney and worked my way up to becoming an EA. So I could represent people with the IRS. So I became an associate in the firm and really loved helping business owners restructure and get around tax issues that had killed my business, that had killed my family's 20-year-old business.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it was fun. It was interesting, but had big dreams and aspirations, and with some lucky LinkedIn networking, ended up with a job in a startup in San Francisco. So moved out to San Francisco, did the startup thing for a while, led new business with an online VC backed accounting firm. So I worked with two of those and then started my own. That's when I started what would eventually become Profit and Grow, and got into offering fractional CFO services. And my clients, about middle of 2023, were interested in acquiring other companies to grow. And I wanted to do the same thing. Like, that was my dream. And but I was waiting until I had millions of dollars in the bank, because I thought that's what you needed. And here my clients were without millions of dollars, moving towards acquisitions. And I got to see from the sidelines what those deals looked like. And so I decided I wanted to do it myself, and started looking into buying an accounting firm, which we will talk about at a later date. But that was when we met.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
I didn't realize some of that I didn't know. That's yeah. How long were you in the Bay Area?
A little over a year. Yeah.
Wow.
So I did the Bay Area startup for a little over a year, moved back to Florida, and then worked
Mm,
remote for a startup out of Seattle.
mm. I am so to give you a little more background to me, I was real young being a lawyer too. You were doing so much really young. I went through undergrad in 3 years, in law school early too. So I was practicing very quick, and I got a job offer in Beijing, China, right out of law school. I was doing a bunch of international stuff. I've been an intern at a war crimes tribunal in The Hague a couple times, and had all this connection. Was gonna just go out and be an international criminal lawyer. And then I just had to take the bar exam anywhere. They just said take it anywhere, and the uniform bar exam had just been adopted in Colorado, in a few other states, but Colorado, I made an Excel spreadsheet, and Colorado won out on days of sunshine, because there's 300 plus days of sunshine a year. It's very sunny today. When it isn't, nobody has coping skills here. They all lose their minds and get incredibly grumpy immediately. But it's been nice. So I moved out here, took the February bar because of graduating early, and then you don't get results until May. Oh, I'm sure surely it's not the case anymore. But just so much time to kill. So I had to get a job, and then I got a better job, and then, Beijing is not as sunny. So I just stayed. And I did the classic, like, small, local firm of, 30 to 50 attorneys, gets acquired by, super regional firm, and then got, poached by a multinational firm in the corporate finance department. And that's where I was when I first heard that saying, that the partnership track is a pie eating contest where the prize is more pie. And that was very impactful for me. I haven't been able to shake that imagery because, when you're in those, and a lot of, I think that's what I really like, I identify with about accountants who are, going out on their own, is they've often been at the big four or whatever iteration of that is more local to them. And they just look ahead and nobody's life is better than theirs. So, why are you lockstep and going towards something that's not solving anything? So a lot of their aha moment that leads them to acquire a firm, I really resonate with, or resonates with me. But so I left, I just fully left with nothing lined up, because I was about to get married and I just didn't want to start a new chapter miserable. So, and it was great. I got 5 clients my first week, and it's just been good ever since then. Really enjoy it. And it's nice running your own business. I'm very unemployable. I too, like you, Daniel, am from a family of small business owners. My dad left a big construction company to start his own construction company. When I was in middle school, my first job was checking the mail and taking it to the attic where he and his business partner, Russell, were working. And then in high school, my job was cleaning the office, the construction office, some very dirty bathrooms. But I watched him. He bought one at some point too, and he sold his business eventually as well. So just commercial construction, so much overhead. It boggles my mind what he went through. But I think it does, and maybe you have kids too. Maybe it'll impact our kids too. They'll all be self-employed entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And understanding how much of a jumpstart acquisitions are, especially knowing what's available to them. I think that was the most mind-blowing thing to me is I saw my family members buy and sell businesses too, in a way, like nothing to a grand scale, but definitely saw it happen and saw it go so wrong. And so it's like you either stumble through it with whatever resources you like get pointed to by whoever you're talking to at the time, or you actually know the ins and outs because you went to Stanford or like Ivy League university. And there seems to be like no in between. There's like no, like, I mean, now we have podcasts and, influencers coming out and teaching a little bit more about it. But before there was just nothing. It was like this mystery, like, gray area that nobody talked about.
And the influencers that you're talking about, which I consume all that content like just a fire hose of it. I love it. I love it so much, but it's the classic social media issue where the thing that gets the most traction is the success story of somebody who, made this unbelievable, ridiculous leap into an industry they know nothing about and spent, leveraged themselves in everything they own and were immediately incredibly rich as a result, and then 10x'd it, got out, and now they're just like on their sailboat. And that's, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, tell me more of that, feed that to me. But I have never once seen that happen as a lawyer who does, hundreds of transactions. That's not a real thing that happens very often. It's certainly not easily replicatable. So if you're not a Harvard, Stanford grad, and you don't come from a family where people are super business savvy and are going to tell you everything you need to know, where are you supposed to find out the real stuff? Like how many deals die before closing and how many deals post-closing are a disaster. I've seen the inside as a lawyer of a lot of things that were promoted as success stories, like startups that were sold to larger companies that everyone says, gosh, I can't believe that they did it. And I'll know the backstory because I'm the lawyer doing it. I can't tell anyone, but the backstory will be that they sold for $1,100 for their client list, or they were so in debt that they sold for the assumption of their debt and $0, and they just wanted to get out. But it's, the news story is huge acquisition or merger of these two brands, and it makes everybody who's in that space think, I'm not doing as well as these people are. They have no idea.
Makes for a very click-worthy video though when they
Yeah.
say, "Here's how I did it, and you can too. Just pay pay $1,000 for my online course."
Which, don't you wonder? I mean, it's not a new issue. I know that those people have existed, ever since the 4-hour work week and before, but like, if it's that successful, why are you selling, a $20 book on Amazon about it? Go to the sailboat, and
I'm
there has to be more to it.
Yeah, I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted on it because I did not like school. I dropped out of high school. I went back to college at 27.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so yeah, I'm not a big fan of the traditional education system. And so I'm desperate for new versions of education. And whether that's knowledge sharing on like forums and Reddit or YouTube videos, podcasts, books, whatever medium it is, I love new education, but new education is occupied by the same space as the late night commercials, with somebody selling a DVD on how to lose weight. It's like that same breed is in this space. So you definitely have to carve out, and definitely have to parse out what's good information and what's bad. But
Mhm.
I think the best information tends to be free if you know what you're looking for.
Oh, I agree. And I think it sounds like we share that. I actually just barely graduated high school by the skin of my teeth. I was suspended for like 2 to 3 times the amount of days that you're allowed to miss.
Oh no, what did you do?
Oh my gosh, it's such a longer story, but it was a riot. And then I think I was editor of the yearbook and volleyball player and all this stuff. And I think they thought, God, we can't just not give her a degree. So they just gave it to me, breaking all their own rules. And then I went to community college. But that was why I went through so fast, was detesting it. And I felt like I taught myself everything. I mean, and it, basically they would say, here's, this is the subject matter of the class and here's the textbook. And then it's like up to you to do the work. At least that's the way it worked for me. And I was in a hurry to get out. That was the motivation. But similar motivation, different approaches.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, I like to learn things. I like I have the Harvard Business Review. I'm rereading it on how to buy a business right now. It's a good resource. It's nice. I like to read stuff at my own pace, but it's a lot easier to scroll through stuff in bed to consume content.
Absolutely. So why are we making Acquisitive? What are we doing here? What are we going to tell people?
Well, I also learn a lot by anecdote. I think everyone does, right? Just, it helps. Maybe I try to explain sometimes that that's why lawyers are the way they are and why the documents have gotten so crazy is you have this, you'll have one weird thing happen where somebody just trips over a word. And for the rest of your life, anytime you use that word, you're trying to keep that one thing from happening again. But that happens 6 times a day. So the documents get so weird and complex because, somebody said, oh, you said it was amortized over 5 years, but you didn't say it was payable over 5 years. So now we are going to litigate over, is it payable over 10 years and amortized over 5, which makes no sense. And so now you always say amortized and payable over 5 years. Anecdotes, they help. And I wish I could tell all of my clients when they come in and they're buying a business, hey, have you looked out for X or Y? And I do. I, say, hey, have you looked out for this really weird thing that can happen? That's why it's really nice to have a little bit of a niche vertical, is because you can say, hey, is there a spouse providing services? Are they either grossly underpaid or grossly overpaid? Either way, there's something there. Or does the owner of the business also own the commercial space? because same thing. They're either funneling, money and paying way above market rent so that they can reduce their taxable income, or they're not paying rent at all and their EBITDA is all not accurate because you're going to have to pay rent. You don't own an office building. So, just bringing those to the forefront so that people can learn from them and not have to go through and learn the hard way on every single point. Maybe they can learn from, 30 different experiences that we've seen and be way ahead of the curve when they're starting this process.
It's amazing how much you can take away from learning what not to do.
Yeah.
Or figuring out how things can go wrong. Because I think anybody will tell you, like, once you have a little bit of experience in just about anything, things tend to go sideways for just a handful of reasons. Like, there are some like crazy nuances that make for really fun stories, but and we'll have to talk about those, because if we just talked about the same 5 reasons deals don't close, it'd probably get a little bit boring. But hopefully everyone knows it. They know those core reasons why businesses don't close, like the back of their hand, before they go into it, so that they do know the step by step of the process. They know where they need to spend a little bit extra money on an expert, and how to pick that expert, but also how to double check and make sure that some of the common mistakes aren't made, where they could, stopping them from buying an otherwise really great business.
I like that. Well, that was our episode 0, I think.
That does feel like episode 0.
Big, I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out to finish this bid, we finna do it big.